And a good day, all of you, Beverage Ramble and Chats. We do these little fun chats that we get together and discuss. All right, let's get right into it. This was kind of under the radar, kind of surprised. This happened yesterday. This was, I don't want to say surprise, but kind of, again, very under the radar. NBC, or I should say Comcast, and the IOC agreed to extend their relationship for the 2034 Winter Games and the 2036 Summer Games. So this is coming off the success of Paris. The IOC, which has had a relationship, with NBC going back to when it was owned by GE, and the network have had a very solid relationship, and not surprising because this was very under the radar because everyone was talking about what was the next big sports rights fees coming up. Everyone's been discussing UFC, possibly the new Pac-12 re-emerging again, but the Olympics was not even on the radar. Their deal with NBC was supposed to expire in 2032 after those games, but again, the IOC felt, hey, let's just go ahead, get right into it, and they made this deal. Again, not surprising, coming not with their relationship that they've had, but also coming off the major success of Paris, which did huge after coming off two, not so, they were well run, but just the enthusiasm and excitement for the last two games. Of course, we know what happened with COVID. The 20 Summer Games in Tokyo was pushed back a year to 2021. Then you had then a couple of months later, you had the Winter Games, 2022 in Beijing. Again, both of those games had no fans whatsoever because of COVID protocols. And there was just no enthusiasm, no excitement whatsoever. But then Paris came, and Paris just kind of blew everyone's socks off. Also, the big success reason for Paris was the friendly time zone. It was more kind of suited for folks in the U.S. And NBC had changed their strategy also. They decided, instead of holding some of the games, some of the big high-profile marquee events to prime time, let's just air it all live on NBC and on their streaming platform, Peacock. And then at nighttime, we'll do kind of like a package 4-hour, wrap up kind of type of thing where you think you're looking at the games live, but it's not. So, and that strategy really worked for them. And ratings wise, they had averaged, I think, 30 million viewers per night for the 17 nights of coverage, plus $1.4 billion in ad sales. So, yeah, that was pretty remarkable. So, like I've always said, the Olympics, and you look at the vision of Dick Ebersol in a lot of ways when he left, when he was running the company, this is what he envisioned. That, this is the only, he believes that this is the only global event, and he's right, that brings everybody together, mom, dad, the whole family in front of that TV screen, and you're watching. And I will admit, this past summer, 2024, I was in tune to the games. I needed, something positive with all the political stuff that was going on. Watching the games, watching the men's and women's team, watching the gymnastics, watching the swimming competitions, all that. I was one of those with my brother and my nieces and nephew, in tune to the game. So yes, it still brings people together like the Super Bowl brings people together. So, also, like I said, this was kind of under the radar. This kind of reminds me of what Dick Ebersol did back in 1995. Some of you may remember when he quietly, NBC, then at that point ran by GE, and the IOC agreed to 3 Olympics: the 2000 Summer Games, the 2002 Winter Games, and the 2004 Summer Games. So this was kind of very quiet under the radar, and to get these games without letting all the other networks know about it. As far as this time around, was there any interest from some of the other networks? I kind of doubt it. Paramount Global, which runs CBS, they're still in this still dealing with the merger. They say the merger with Skydance is supposed to be complete by June. Right now, there's still some complications to that. We shall see. Fox Sports, I know they've taken a very hands-off, a different approach right now. And if you look at some of their properties that they have right now, I don't think the Olympics was really on their radar. And same could be said about ESPN and Disney with all of their properties that they're paying money on, especially the NFL and the SEC. And now with the recent NBA deal they just signed, the Olympics probably was not on their radar. So kudos to Comcast, Universal, NBCUNIVERSAL, continuing their relationship. Again, if it's not the NFL, outside the NFL, the Olympics is without question one of NBC's most, or the company, Comcast as a company itself, is probably one of the most important properties that they have, not just from sports, but just from an entertainment level. So kudos to them for getting this deal. Also wanted to talk about was, I think not the NASCAR deal. Yeah, March Madness. Of course, is coming up. This coming on Tuesday, we got the first 4 games. Now, there's been talk about maybe extending the tournament to 96 teams. I remember it was only 64, and when it went to 68, I was like, okay. Sometimes, folks, bigger is not always better. But this was talked about at the recent, ESPN TNT decided to merge with CBS and TNT made their announcements of all their broadcast pairings for the upcoming tournament, and there was discussions about what if an expanded field, what would happen if they expanded the field to 96 teams. We're just kind of looking and surveying. This was some of the comments made by head of the advertisers for TNT Sports, and of course for CBS. They said we'll see what happens, but right now we kind of feel we're good. We like what we're seeing. But again, if there's a way that could be worked out in a way that both networks can make money off of it, and the NCAA, then we shall see. But I just think expanding it would really just hurt the game. I think it's perfect as it is. It's a great event. I mean, the Final Four that Saturday, like the Super Bowl, is one of those days you got to tune in and watch, because it's a celebration of basketball, celebration of the game of basketball, and it that's what it should be. And expanding it to go into, say, I don't know, maybe first, second week of April, let's not do that. Yes, I know NIL money and all that, transfer portal, but the game as itself is good, and expanding the tournament doesn't really need to be, but so you got that. So the Selection Sunday's coming up this Sunday for both the men's and women's. It's going to be interesting to see what the ratings are going to be now for the women's game without Caitlin Clark, without Angel Reese, since they're both in the WNBA. But I think the game is going to get still some solid numbers. It still has some amazing stars like Juju Watkins, like Paige Beckers in the women's game. So and some other stars as well. So I think the women's game is going to be just fine. But the men's game, I don't see maybe a few teams here and there, but I think it's going to be pretty much chalk. The SEC is probably the deepest, without question, the deepest conference. We'll probably get maybe 12 teams in the tournament. But I think there will be pretty much the preeminent big boys will be in there. Teams from the SEC, teams from the ACC, teams from the Big Ten and the Big 12. So I think this is going to be a really, really good tournament. Obviously, last year's tournament, there were a lot of upsets, but it didn't really have that excitement from last year. And the big plus this year that the championship game and the Final Four and the championship game will be on CBS, not on TBS. So that will probably help. Now, yes, last year's game, you had UConn, which was the most dominant team. And then, of course, you had Purdue with its biggest star, Zach Edey, but didn't really register with a lot of people. But I did watch anyway. And let's see, the other teams that were in there, North Carolina State and Alabama. So who knows? Who knows how this tournament will play out. You have some amazing stars, Cooper Flag. We know about the SEC and how deep that conference is even in this year. We got Houston and Arizona, Iowa State in the Big 12. The ACC, of course, Duke, Cooper Flag, one of the most exciting players this year. So I think this tournament is going to be the Big East, St. John's, Rick Pitino, I think this term is going to be pretty solid, guys. So I'm really looking forward to it. You know, I got a lot going on in my personal life right now, but hopefully we'll get a chance to watch. But I will be watching the selection show this coming Sunday. Obviously, this is going to be the first year, unfortunately, sadly, without Greg Gumbel. Of course, we all know he passed away during the holidays, December 2024. So this will be the first year without him. He's been hosting that tournament since 1998, going back as far, and been involved in the tournament even before when he left for NBC, where he would call games, and then when NBC came back when CBS came back from getting the NFL back, and Greg Gumbel returned, and then he went to start doing what he did, hosting the selection show and covering the entire tournament. So it'll be great to see Greg. It'll be great. Hope they can do many tributes to him. Well deserved. I mean, he was a great guy, great person, great sportscaster, and he will definitely be missed. So it'll be great to see how they do a great tribute to him, and also the NCAA do a tribute to him during the Final Four. Also, real quickly, so you're going to tribute to John Feinstein, great sports writer. He used to work for the Washington Post. Also wrote the infamous book Season on the Brink about Bob Knight and the Indiana Hoosiers. Passed away, I believe, late Thursday or Wednesday. An incredible guy. Watching him on the Sports Reporters, great show. He will be missed. So, John Feinstein, have my cup of coffee. Cheers to you. So, that's about it. So, thank you again for watching with the Beverage Ramble and Chats. More coming up down the road. So, stay tuned. See you later.